Hello trainers, and welcome to another episode of Pokéology, a show where each week I talk to you about the biology of Pokemon based on the research that I have found. My name is Professor SACCHARUM, and this week I will be talking to you about the dark Pokemon, Houndoom. As per usual, we will be asking the following questions when we look into each Pokemon. What does it look like? What does it eat? How does it survive? What makes it special? Where do I find it? And how do I train it? Let's take a look at how to identify Houndoom. Houndoom is a quadruped canine Pokemon with a black fur coat. The snout, underbelly, and paw pads all share the same orange coloring. Houndoom are easily identified due to the horns on their heads. Also, take note that a male's horns will be much larger than those of a female. Now let's take a look at the outer ribs. Now I say outer ribs because Houndoom have another set of ribs on the inside. These outer ribs are there to protect Houndoom from incoming rock slides or rock type moves that can severely hurt it. The same can be said for the bones surrounding Houndoom's ankles and the skull crest on Houndoom's chest. Now let's take a look at Houndoom's tail. Looks puny, doesn't it? Well, I'll tell you that tail can become strong enough to break through rock if Houndoom knows Iron Tail. We can also see here that Houndoom has 4 fangs as well. Now let's take a peek at Houndoom's eyes. They are a piercing red. This allows Houndoom to be able to see at night to help it hunt. This is even more interesting because with Houndoom being a canine, its sense of smell can be more than enough to help it hunt. But that little black nose won't help this demon dog from running into trees while on a midnight prowl. Lastly, we'll take a look at Houndoom's paws and note that they have 3 claws on each foot. Now this would be the last thing if Houndoom didn't have a Mega Evolution. Taking a look at Mega Houndoom, we can already spot some major differences, being that it is much larger than Houndoom. Also, upon Mega Evolving, the gender difference between male and female Houndoom disappears and the horns point upward. We can also see a change in the snout of Houndoom, where the orange color extends towards the top of the skull. Now the most obvious change from Houndoom to Mega Houndoom is that instead of the bones surrounding all 4 ankles, only the front legs are cupped. Okay, now for the other really obvious part. Houndoom's tail has turned from a triangular pointed shape to a pitchfork shape. Oh, and also there are some bones coming out surrounding the lower part of Houndoom's tail. Okay, no more jokes. Let's take a look at the real spectacle and the most prominent change from Houndoom to Mega Houndoom. And that's that its claw turned from white to bright red. Now let's move on to the next portion of the video. Just kidding, you really think I'd forget to mention the skull crest on Houndoom's chest has transformed into something that looks to be a prehistoric spiked collar? And that one of the back ribs have turned tusk-like? Please, I'm not some amateur here. Houndoom are carnivores that hunt in well-organized packs, using barks and other sounds to disorient their prey as well as locate each other. You'll often find Houndoom feeding on Ponyta and Girafarig. However, these Pokemon also like to eat spicy berries like the tomato berry. There are even some records of Houndoom eating rocks. These rocks more than likely come from the Geodude in the immediate area. However, one thing to note about Houndoom is that it will never eat anything raw, so it will cook its food until it is mostly charred. How does Houndoom survive? Well, the best way for me to point this out to you is to take another look at Houndoom. Look at its body shape. I know I mentioned it before, but note that Houndoom isn't just skinny. They are slender, lean, and muscular. This body type allows Houndoom to run at high speeds, all the while remaining silent while it hunts prey in the middle of the night. The dark fur palette isn't just for looks either. It is an adaptive camouflage that it has for the night. It's this fact alone that makes Houndoom the top of its food chain. Well, other than the fact that it is a demon dog with horns on its head, Houndoom and Houndour are the only Pokemon with the dark and fire typing. Many religious people also believe that Houndoom are creatures sent from hell to terrorize humankind. But I don't believe that because my Houndoom and many other Houndoom that I've encountered are actually very docile and tame. This is also one of the few Pokemon who are capable of Mega Evolving as well. But before we start up a religious conflict, let's take a look at some of Houndoom's Pokédex entries. In a Houndoom pack, the one with its horned rake sharply back serves a leadership role. They choose their leader by fighting among themselves. Upon hearing its eerie howls, other Pokemon get the shivers and head straight back to their nests. If you are burned by the flames it shoots from its mouth, the pain will never go away. Long ago, people imagined its eerie howls to be the call of the Grim Reaper. The flames it breathes when angry contain toxins. If they cause a burn, it will hurt forever. Since Houndoom are actually a little bit hard to find out in the wild, I'm going to tell you where you can find its pre-evolution Houndour as well. If you decide to catch a Houndour, raise it up to level 24 where it will then evolve into Houndoom. But if you're looking just for Houndoom, you can look in the following places. Sinnoh's routes 214 and 215. Make sure you're using a Poké Radar though. And that's it. This is why I'm also going to tell you where you can find Houndour. You can find Houndour in the following places. Hoenn's Safari Zone, Sinnoh's 214 in Valor Lakefront, Kanto's Route 7, Johto's Safari Zone, Unova's Route 9 in Swarms, and Kalos's Route 10, but be careful because you can run into them in hordes. Also, a fair warning when going after these Pokemon is to know that Houndoom are actually a lot more vicious than Houndour in the wild. So for beginning trainers, I recommend going after Houndour. Now it's time to get to the segment that you've all been waiting for. The first thing you're going to want to know about Houndoom is that it is a dark and fire type Pokemon, meaning that it is weak to water, fighting, ground, and dark type moves. But also know that Houndoom resists fire, grass, ice, ghost, dark, and steel type moves. Houndoom are even immune to psychic type moves. What? The power's real! Next you'll want to know something that I've actually never talked about before, and that's Houndoom's basic statistics. Taking a look at this chart, we can see that Houndoom is fairly offensive with its special attack stat being at an incredibly nice 110, and it's pretty quick too with its speed being at a base 95. The rest of Houndoom's stats aren't too much to look at. However, once it Mega Evolves into Mega Houndoom, we are able to see that Houndoom's base stats raise quite nicely with that special attack jumping to a beautiful 140 and speed at a nice 115. The rest of Houndoom's stats give it a nice boost to its bulk, but it's still more of a glass cannon, not being able to take too many hits. Now you need to know that Houndoom has access to either one of three abilities: Early Bird, Flash Fire, and Unnerve. Early Bird is an ability that allows Houndoom to wake up from sleep a lot quicker than normal. Flash Fire is an ability that allows Houndoom to absorb any fire type attacks, including Hidden Power Fire, and gives a boost to Houndoom's fire type moves by 1.5 times. Will-O-Wisp will activate the ability but will not cause a boost to fire type moves. And finally, Unnerve is an ability that disables an opponent from eating any berries in battle. Now when Houndoom Mega Evolves into Mega Houndoom, it gains an ability completely different from any of the others, and that ability is Solar Power. Solar Power is an ability that causes Houndoom to gain an increase in special attack by 1.5 times when the sun is out. The only drawback is that every turn while the sun is out, Houndoom loses a bit of HP. For the first set, you're going to want a Houndoom with either a modest or timid nature with the ability Flash Fire. Then give it the Houndoominite item to hold and spread the EVs, 252 special attack, 4 special defense, and 252 speed. Then give it the moves Fire Blast, Dark Pulse, either Sunny Day or Nasty Plot, and either Solar Beam or Hidden Power Grass. If you chose not to have Sunny Day, you may want to consider having a party member with the ability Drought, or have someone else know Sunny Day. The only reason I suggest Hidden Power Grass is in case you do not want to run Sun on the team. This next set is for if you do not want to run Mega Houndoom. You're going to want a Houndoom with a hasty nature and the ability Flash Fire. Give it a Life Orb to hold and spread the EVs, 252 attack, 4 special attack, and 252 speed. Then give it the moves Pursuit, Sucker Punch, Fire Blast, and either Crunch or Hidden Power Grass. This set is to make Houndoom a viable mix attacker. It's not as common anymore, but you might find it every now and then. And there you have it, Houndoom, a Pokemon that brings a different meaning to the term, winter is coming. Well, that's my show for this week. Remember, if you like this video, to give it a thumbs up and to subscribe to my channel for next week's Pokemon. Also, don't forget to leave your friend code and a suggestion for a Pokemon you'd like to see on the show in the comment section below. By doing that, you enter yourself in the SACCHARUM raffle, where you have the chance to win the Pokemon discussed in this week's episode. Last week I raffled off Zigzagoon, and here are the names of our winners. Congratulations! Don't forget to send me an email so that we can schedule a trade. Thank you so much for watching. Again, my name is Professor SACCHARUM, and please join me next week for another Leg Day episode of Pokéology. See you next time.